Hey everybody. So my name's Corey Pigott. I'm the strategic funding manager for Near Foundation. I'm really focused on capital deployment and funding for the purpose of growing the ecosystem for projects that are building on Near. So today I really want to kind of touch upon briefly introducing what Near is for folks who may not know about it, as well as providing an overview of the Near ecosystem funding. And then providing maybe some avenues for folks to really further engage within the Near ecosystem. So for anyone who's not that familiar with Near, Near is a layer 1 blockchain platform that enables creators, communities, and financial markets to really drive a more open and consumer empowered world. And so really to accomplish this mission of an open web world, we first had to build a best-in-class platform, one that provides simplicity, not only for developers to build, but really for also consumers and users to really utilize the network while kind of providing an experience very, very familiar to Web 2. And so we additionally have a goal at the foundation to onboard 1 billion users to Web 3, and so that really requires a secure and scalable blockchain. So for scalability, Near really utilizes a sharding to help satisfy the demand for transactions and for more and more users to be onboarded to Near. And so when we launched mainnet in October of 2020, Near started with 1 shard to really kind of allow us to test out the sharding capabilities. And a year later, October of last year, we were able to launch 4 shards with the ability to increase those shards via governance every 12 hours. And so we like to kind of use this slide as a way to kind of show kind of how we're looking to build out the ecosystem. And so Near is really supported through what we like to call our creator triangle, featuring creators, open finance, and communities. And really these pillars kind of work together in tandem to really build out this ecosystem. And I think with more liquidity comes more creators comes greater communities, which in turn they could create DAOs and be able to use their treasuries to again further support the ecosystem through DeFi, NFTs, and gaming. So I don't want to touch upon this too much, but this is just kind of an overview of kind of the ecosystem, a snapshot of where we're at currently with kind of all the projects that are building right now. And so we have the Near ecosystem as well as the Aurora ecosystem, which Aurora is Near's EVM compatible layer 2, which launched late last year. And so kind of to put this ecosystem growth into perspective, here are just kind of a few figures that we have to really reiterate kind of where we're at now with 92 million transactions, over 4 million accounts, a handful of projects, DAOs, TVL of over 575 million, and I think as of today, NFT volume just close to 7 million from a 30-day average. And so I think as the ecosystem matures, we saw kind of a huge need for funding within the ecosystem to really be able to fund across different buckets. And so here are just a few of them that we've kind of been implementing last year and early this year. I think DeFi through Proximity Labs, our own NF funding through our own grants and direct investments, equity investments, and then as well as additional funding through regional hubs and ecosystem funds. And so each bucket has their own allocation of Near to fund their initiatives, and we're looking kind of in the near future to be able to build out those channels and platforms for ecosystem funding in the coming months and years. And so from a foundation standpoint, we really work to provide a clear and efficient access to funding support for projects that are looking to build on Near, and we look to kind of achieve that through supporting that creator triangle that I spoke to earlier, so that those pillars can really have a thriving ecosystem to grow. And we kind of provide that through like access to funding, where whether it's NF Direct or through some of our external funding channels. We also support our community through funding many of their ideas and initiatives that they have as well. And then finally, through making sure, I think, through some of that funding that incentives are aligned between the foundation and the ecosystem projects and partners, and we usually try to do that through milestone-based incentives. So how do we operationalize this? I think in taking this vision into practical use and really building out a scalable model, we like to think of the foundation as a decentralized fund of funds, where we're able to really deploy capital to really closely align external partners who are able to really manage the capital deployment within the ecosystem. And so this is just kind of a sample of kind of our vision that we have, where we have kind of direct grants that we put out. We have grant pools, educational grants, direct investments, LP investments, kind of a thriving VC network, DAO investments, and all that. So many of these are currently being implemented, and we're looking to kind of build on top of that and add more as we grow. And so really taking a look at kind of what we have currently, NF deploys capital directly through our grants program and direct investments. So our grants program, we have a little over 250 million for grants program, and then NF Direct, we have about 100 million to make direct equity investments into projects. Additionally, we have a grant pool and investment funds that are currently being deployed by kind of closely aligned partners like Proximity Labs, our DeFi incubator, Aurora, our layer 2, Human Guild, which is a guild kind of focused on creators, and then also regional funds and regional hubs such as Near Ukraine Accelerator. Also, we have a few ecosystem funds. So MetaWeb, OWC, and Move Capital are kind of our current ecosystem funds that we're LPs in, and they really are critical in helping kind of build out the ecosystem and further deploy capital that the NF is unable to do. So they're really critical as well. And we're looking to add more ecosystem funds as we continue to grow. And then finally, we're currently working with over 275 different VCs, angels, mentors to really help externally fund and accelerate the growth of the ecosystem as well. And then I think quickly looking back at kind of what we've done over the course of last year, I mean, NF deployed about 104 million in assets to 271 grant recipients. We also invested about $1.6 million in early stage VC deals. From the crowdfunding side of things, there's been about 70 million that's been raised from projects like Skyward, Aurora, Ref Finance, and then also from external VC funding. We've had about 77 million raised in rounds for Aurora, Flux, Octopus Network, and many more. So looking to kind of continue that on, and we have a lot more that have been raised over the past few months. And then also from the community side, we were able to deploy 2 million to various scales in community-driven projects. So we talked about how the ecosystem is funded, but and kind of the role of the NF and our ecosystem partners and how we play a role in that. So next, I really wanted to kind of quickly talk about different ways that builders and investors can really participate within the ecosystem and really engage with not only NF but some of our partners. So regional hubs is a big piece of that, and it's a big initiative for the foundation. I think it was clear for us as the ecosystem was growing that the foundation itself can't manage that growth solely on its own. And so we really needed to rely on local community members to lead within those various regions. And so many of our current regional hubs have actually organically developed and grown just based off of organic ecosystem growth, including Ukraine and China. And so now I think our focus is really better operationalizing the teams, the capital, the local communities, and their resources to really formalize our existing hubs and then expand into some more that we have shown here. We're working on that one as well. So as I touched upon a little previously, Proximity is also a big project of ours that's focused on DeFi ecosystem growth on Near. And so Proximity is a project studio and incubator for DeFi on Near. They've been pretty instrumental in accelerating the growth of Near's DeFi presence with work on projects like Ref Finance and Burrow Cash. And in addition to that, they're to building DeFi building blocks. They also have a 40 million Near grant style that's aimed to bring in more top DeFi builders to the ecosystem. So if you want to learn more about Proximity, Kendall leads the Proximity team, and he's a great resource, and his entire team is a great resource for DeFi being developed on Near and integrated via Aurora as well. Pagoda is a new project that it formerly was Near Inc. And it's the first ever Web3 startup platform to fully support the Near ecosystem from a developer front. And so I think that is providing protocol R&D, dev tools, dev console, and more just really to support those who are building on Near. And so I think many of the Pagoda team members are here in attendance at ETH Denver. So I think it'd be great for people to kind of introduce yourselves and have them kind of walk through what they're building, because what they're building is really great. And I touched upon it a little bit before, but ecosystem funds I think are really critical to what we're building out. So we have MetaWeb and Amos, OWC and Mimi, and then Move Capital and Rune, and them and their teams. I think. They're distinct and separate funds with their own LP capital, and I think they're really great at providing additional capital, support, and guidance to some of these early stage ecosystem projects. And so, and I think these funds kind of act as an extension of the existing funding channels that we have. And like I said before, we're looking to kind of add to that as well. So, if there are any funds that are looking to get more involved with Near, we'd be interested in talking to you. So really to highlight, I think there are a lot of ways that both investors and builders are really able to engage further within the Near ecosystem. And I think touching upon investors first, I think engaging further with the NF funding team for deal flow sharing. I lead strategic funding for the foundation. I'm happy to connect anyone to any projects that are building, any of our ecosystem funds or other partners that we have. We also have a monthly newsletter for investors that we'd like to just keep people aware of what's happening within the ecosystem, so happy to include you in that as well. Also, I think ecosystem funds are a great way to get involved, and feel free to reach out to Amos, Mimi, or Rune. I listed their contact information here, but I'm also happy to make any intros as well. And I think they have really some great insight into a lot of the ecosystem projects, and they're also raising LP capital, so if you are looking to be an LP, they also have opportunities there. And then finally, like I said, if you're looking to further engage within the DeFi ecosystem, Kendall is a great resource. And then I think for builders, there's also a lot of ways to further engage within the ecosystem. From engaging with the NF funding team, for non-equity funding, we have our own grants program, and I encourage anyone to apply for a grant if you're considering building on Near, and happy to kind of walk through. And we have someone on our team, Nicole, who I think is talking a little later today, who will be going over kind of how to apply for a grant. Additionally, we provide equity funding, either internally or externally with some of our partners. So like I said, I help lead that, so happy to talk to anybody who's raising capital and on Near, within Near ecosystem, happy to chat through that as well. And then I think outside of NF's grant funding, there's also a lot of other grant pools that are currently available, including Proximity, Aurora, Near University, which is like educational grants, as well as Human Guild, and we're looking to have more included as we kind of further develop here. And then I think finally, from kind of just an ecosystem and community engagement perspective, there's also a lot of ways to further engage. Pagoda, I think, is a great one. Also, our education and community pages to really help people kind of learn more about Near and kind of figure out how to engage that way, I think is great. As well as for those who are looking to deploy DAOs, Astro DAO has some great resources and can really help spin up DAOs easily. So get connected with them, and happy to make any intros there as well. And then I think just for us at the NF, we also are looking for individuals to join our team. So I listed our career page here if anybody's interested to join or look through that. That's also another opportunity. So I think that's pretty much it. I mean, thank you for taking the time, and I encourage everybody to engage further within the ecosystem, and happy to reach out and talk through anything that you have and any questions that you may have. So thanks.